everybody.
Hi.
And yes. Where are we today, Travis?
I'm currently sitting in my room, my office.
Yes.
And you're currently sitting in your room office. And we are recording
a podcast
called
Mean Girls Interrupted.
Okay, thank you.
A movie review podcast.
My brain started thinking about so many different things while I was trying to do the introduction.
Yeah. So I think what Travis is feeling right now is confoundment, because today, you might know from the title before pressing play, we are talking and discussing the movie Morbius.
Yes.
The notorious movie Sony Pictures release of Morbius starring Jared Leto.
I've always called him
Jared. It's been decades and I don't even know.
I've always called him Jared Leto just because that's...
Let's just call him
Morbius.
Creepy Round Eyes.
Yeah, Creepy Round Eyes.
Yeah.
I mean...
Little Miss Creepy Round Eyes.
Honestly, I know people hated the Little Miss memes, but there was so much potential with those.
I like it.
I actually like the Little Miss memes.
Because, I mean, I feel like you and I were like referring to things as Little Miss before
the memes
was
happened.
Taken by memes. We're not going to let those memes destroy our pleasure of Little Miss whatever.
No, speaking of memes, Morbius, which we just said we were talking about, became a massive meme where people...
Which part?
The whole thing, because people were ironically praising the movie. So let me just tell you this straight off the bat.
Okay.
People were ironically praising this movie on social media and creating memes with it. Sony saw these memes and took it as another interest in the movie. So they re-released it in theaters after it already flopped.
They're like, they want it.
John, do you know how much?
That's executive delusion right there.
Do you know
that's like,
wait, listen to this.
Yeah.
I am going, I see your executive delusion and I'm going to raise you the $289 it made in each theater it was released.
Stop it.
So it was flopped. The movie flopped twice.
It flopped more because I thought there was a re-release. I was like, didn't that already come out?
John,
and then I'm like,
I was shocked.
And then I was like re-seeing billboards around LA, and I was like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing this stuff?
John, they thought people wanted to see it because they don't understand the internet.
They don't get sarcasm and irony.
No. So people were literally trashing this movie with memes of Morbius, and Sony said, wow, people really like this movie, when in fact...
The numbers show the people have spoken, and they want Jared Leto's face to be like weird.
John.
On the big screen.
There's something, his eyes have changed.
It's interesting. Maybe he had, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to shame.
We're not going to speculate or shame, but I'm here with you and I already know where you're headed.
Yes. There's something
surgical
the vibe
about
of
it.
Him. Yeah.
It's okay to say it.
Metaphorically, it was like, there's something there's a surgical precise answer to what it might be.
Yeah. Has nothing
that's like a little bit off, but we just don't know what that is.
No, it has. Yes. It's a very weird.
Yeah.
He's an interesting person. Listen, I just want to say this to all of you listening right now. John and I, these are our opinions. We
only have opinions here on Mean Girls Interrupted.
Everything we say is just
This is
an
not
opinion.
Our burn book.
No.
We aren't mean girls in real life.
We're not.
But I mean, Morbius is one of those things that you can like totally hate watch. And I feel like we did that to ourselves, the thing is, knowing what we were getting into.
Well, the thing is, it's like, there were elements to this. There were elements to this where I was like, what wasted potential?
I know.
Wasted potential. If you guys can't tell how we feel about this movie.
So, I mean, it wasn't like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where it was like fully redeeming all of like the really cringy stuff that was simultaneously happening to you. And this was just awful.
It was.
Morbius is awful.
John is not wrong. John and I share the same opinion. We don't, for the most part, I think that we kind of generally have our own ideas. I mean, I think we both like the same stuff, but like,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You have
like,
a more technical understanding of how it works, and my brain has holes in it. So
not at all.
So,
but I mean, like, yeah. So I guess if we were to like get into it, it's almost like, so Morbius obviously is a Marvel character and is like pretty much beloved character in the Marvel universe. And Sony had the rights to make this fucking movie happen. But
can we just
yeah, but let's talk about okay. So maybe we can talk about let's run down what I feel like you're more familiar with this than I am because I haven't seen the Venom movies. But
I didn't watch the second one, John. I hated the first one.
Right,
and so love Tom Hardy.
Yeah, like I
will almost watch anything he's in, and I literally could not watch the second one. I'm sorry, I love Tom Hardy.
Yeah, and like talk about like a stacked cast. Like,
I can't watch the Venom. I truly think that Sony screwed this up.
I didn't watch it because Venom for me as a child was like my all-time coolest, favoritist like thing.
Yep.
Like exposed obviously through my
older brothers.
Yeah, but also like we were very much into the Marvel universe through comic books and also the cartoons and Venom. Venom and Carnage were both major like visual things that I really responded to as a kid.
Yeah, they're melty bodies.
Yeah, and like their horror leaning thing is like that was like sort of one of my horror awakenings, like in like the 3rd or 4th grade. Like I had like a Carnage action figure, which I prefer Carnage over Venom. And as far as like the look goes, I love that like that
the red is so cool. It's very sinister. But it's also like there's something about it. There's something about that red that is really kind of like I don't know the exact words. I want to say like Cenobite type, like it's giving me like Cenobite. You know what I mean?
It's like it's more like blood and gore instead of like oily, like black vinyl leather, which I'm more into now. But so it was like, and I had my own like ideas of like what that would look like in a movie, but they made it into like a weird comedy.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's what they're doing with all of these superhero movies. They're all becoming just like comedies.
They are parodies.
Yeah,
I don't
and I'm
want
like
Venom.
I want action. I want thrilling, and they even had a shot at humor with Morbius, and that did not land
because no one in that movie is funny.
Yeah,
there's not one person in that movie that's funny except for maybe Matt Smith. But I have never watched a single episode of Doctor Who, so I don't know if it's comedy or not.
And like so let's get into the specs so we can talk about Matt Smith. And so Matt Smith is in this. He plays a childhood friend
Lucien,
of Jared Leto's
X Milo X. There's another name for him in the comics.
Yeah, but he he
plays Hunger. By the way, for those of you who know, in the comics there is a character named Hunger. He is essentially that person. They refer to him as Milo.
They didn't really talk about that, I guess.
Not really. They kind of just
They're like, let's wrap this movie up.
Yeah, let's get into the specs because we have some things to discuss.
Yeah, okay. So Morbius is obviously PG-13, even though
should be rated R.
I think all of these things, like, Sony totally could take it. I feel like that's what's missing in the universe, and they could have been very successful with rated R versions of things.
Have they not ever seen Deadpool? Deadpool took a character that is meant to be rated R, like all comic book characters.
Yeah, and also they redeemed themselves because they had Deadpool featured in like a Wolverine movie, and it was like not well received.
No, and it's funny because they make fun of it. So why can't Sony do this with the anti-heroes? They are antagonists. Make them evil.
Yeah, but they just become full heroes or something. But so it's about a biochemist named Michael Morbius. He tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead. And that's basically all you need to know about this movie.
That is essentially the entire plot of the movie.
Yeah, because everything else really doesn't make any sense. The budget was $75 million. Modest.
That is modest. There were some parts of it that I actually was like, wow, that's some okay CGI. There were cool CGI elements to this movie.
Yeah, and it actually grossed 163.8 million worldwide.
That's
in the box
not
office.
Great for a comic book movie.
I mean, it's not. It's really not great, but at least they made their money back.
Well, I mean, silver linings. That's the only thing I can say, because for real.
And I don't think they're shelving this, by the way. They are going to shove it down people's throats with the sequel and everything.
Jared Leto literally said, I feel this first movie is like a first date. We're just getting to know each other. And he's referencing the character of Morbius.
Okay.
So he's planning on fully reprising his role.
Yeah.
And then creating whatever mess they want to make.
Right. So this is directed by Daniel Espinosa, who he did that movie Life which is like from, I think, Jake Gyllenhaal and Jake Gyllenhaal 2, which is Ryan Reynolds or something like that. I can't remember his name.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
But they're like the same person.
Is it the one who played in that 70s show?
No, Ryan Reynolds with it
was Ryan Reynolds?
Deadpool.
Yes.
Of Deadpool gimp suit fame.
Yeah.
But it was really refreshing to see Tyrese Gibson as Agent Simon Stroud in here.
First, I didn't even
aging well.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, Tyrese is not going to not age well. But here's the thing. I didn't know he was in this movie until I watched the movie.
Yeah, I know, right? They're not. I mean, yeah,
I had no clue.
A blast from the past.
Yeah.
But I mean, also it stars as like the leading lady, Adria Arjona, and she is from True Detective.
She based her character off of AOC.
Oh, she did? Yep. The best part of this movie, I would have to say, is her braided high pony. Like, did you clock that? It was really good.
Well, no, what I'm thinking of is like the best part. I wish I had clocked it, because that would have been the best part of the movie.
Because for me, it was really just like, it was very much like.
Now I'm just laughing at the fact that you think the best part of this movie is a braid that I didn't see.
It's all throughout. Like she comes in her like the very first scene in a white doctor suit with like a high pony, like slicked back hair into a high pony that was obviously like extensions. And I'm like, girls like getting that professionally done every single morning. She's a scientist.
She's very beautiful. Whoever she is, she can do better than this.
I think she knew it. You can it reads on camera.
Which is probably why she was like, I need my character to die.
Yeah, but also it doesn't. Yeah, she's coming back for the sequel.
Which is really bizarre, because I need to understand once we get to that point.
Yeah, so starring High Pony, it is there even whenever they go in different locations, all the way to the end. She has that high pony, and I'm like, yes. Branding.
That may have been an attribute of hers in the comics. I'm not familiar. I really don't understand her character.
Yeah. So if you don't want to watch this for any other reason, watch it for Adriana Arjona's high ponytail.
See, I'm not going to go back and watch it for it, but I believe you.
You can look at movies still.
Yeah, true. I will.
But and like so the high pony needs to come onto the show, so we'll reach out to their people.
We'll reach out. Yes, we will. We'll reach out to her extensions.
Yeah. Hopefully they're like kind and nice, and they haven't think that they're bigger than us,
How could they?
I mean, the
ponytail is higher. It is bigger. It is bigger than us in terms of height.
It is literally higher than the rest of that cast. Anyway, so obviously Sony decided to
take a shit one morning.
Yeah, and they're like, you know what we need to do? We need to start this movie off with Jared Leto. He's in really cool high-tech crutches.
Hold on, I have to say this.
Yes.
He got off of that helicopter. He walked off the helicopter, John, and walked right onto the set of Paparazzi.
Oh yeah, that's right. It does very much have Lady Gaga paparazzi music video vibes.
John, when he got
It's all
up,
boom.
I said, what?
It's like, we own the club.
I was like, what in the fame monster hell? He's for real.
Oh, they're friends, obviously, because they are in House of Gucci together.
Oh.
And they're both method actors, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Jared.
No shade to method actors, but he did not need to lose all of that weight for this movie.
Are you sure that wasn't CGI?
I Googled it immediately.
He really did that?
Yeah, that's a real
for
body.
This.
That's an emaciated Jared Leto on purpose for the purposes of this movie, Morbius, that is only featured for like the first 15 to 20 minutes.
John, I truly thought that was CGI.
Yeah, and then he is built, and they found a reason to take off his shirt, which was like weird and clunky. He's like, yeah, and he takes off his shirt, and that's the only thing. And then we get abs, pecs, and arms. And then he walks to the next room and then puts on a jacket. Like he's cold.
I can't even remember. John, he does nothing for me. He is like a wet noodle.
Yes.
I can't help it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So he walks so we're now in the paparazzi music video universe.
Yes, which takes place apparently on, I think what the caption was, it's South America.
It's called the Hill of Death.
Yeah, but it was like what, Cara de las Muertas or something like that.
The Hill of Death.
Yeah. So, and I was like, oh, translation, something of death.
Yep.
Watch out. This is where we're going. And then it's a bat cave, and he stands in front of that bat cave. And then there's like some weird trap that they put up in front of it. And then he cuts his hand. And this is like a special kind of vampire bat that like totally rips apart living thing. And so he captures them, takes them home, and then we iris into a flashback sequence of him as a child who is disabled with like some rare disease, who's like put into the school with other people with the same disease, where he meets Milo,
Lucien,
and right,
calls him Lucien, and then all of a sudden he's like, "You're Milo, just like the Milo before and the Milo before."
Oh, got it.
Something weird. I don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. And so that is like baby version of Matt Smith, and they become best friends.
Yeah,
brothers actually.
After Matt Smith's baby character is like dying on the bed, and then homeboy Michael Morbius fixes that machine with a pen, like a pen spring. And all I could
and then we totally just have to accept that he is a child genius who will grow up to also be a super genius.
Dude, when Matt Smith's baby character like slumped over, I was like, that honestly, you should be happy.
Oscar worthy.
No, right. It's the end of your character. Do not carry on.
Like, just pray that Morbius does not bring you back, but he did. So they
grow up. So after that, they grow up.
They grow up, and Jared Leto Morbius is a very successful engineer, scientist person who has dedicated his life to finding a cure for his rare disease to save all the other kids with this rare disease. And so he is there, and it just hasn't been tested, and he's been doing secret stuff with the bats that he captured and took to his secret lab, where we meet Martine Bancroft, his love interest, and she's like, I know what you're doing, by the way. And he's like, well, you shouldn't, because I try to keep that a secret from you. And she's like, well, I know. Okay?
Yeah, she was like, mm-hmm.
She's like, I'm a brilliant scientist who has a high ponytail, and I'm wearing high heels today. Okay, honestly, what do you do?
She was
Jared
in
Leto?
espadrille wedges. She knows better.
Were those really espadrille wedges?
I have actually no idea.
Yeah, she's like, by the way, and I'm gonna like help you do it. And
do you want to know what's wild before we move on to that fucking boat?
Yeah,
that hospital they work in is part of the comics. That hospital was built just so that they could do scientific experiments and not have to ask permission or go through boards.
He's still like hiding it from everyone.
They had no reason to go to international waters.
Right. So there's no logic in this film.
They had no reason to go to international waters. That hospital is specifically for them to run these experiments and find cures without people telling them what to do.
Yeah. And you know what else really doesn't make sense to me? So we hop, skip, and a jump. So Milo is still like, it's like iffy if these two people are going to even survive the next year or so.
They're acting like they're not going to survive the next 5 days.
Yeah. And so they're like, we gotta bypass all this stuff and we got to start human testing as soon as possible. And so Matt Smith, Milo, the grown-up version, is like, I will finance your venture. And he's like, what do you need? He's like, I need a special lab in offshore waters on like an oil, like a floating ship or whatever. And so we immediately cut to the result of all that hard work and effort, where they like, it's basically just like cut to middle of the ocean, secret lab, Morbius pulling out the vial and being like, we did it. And then we have like a brief exposition that this thing, like, so Martine and Morbius are like the only 2 scientists on this ship. And it is being guarded by a team of mercenaries that they don't even really trust over the course of this year that they've been working.
Over like 5 minutes.
Yeah. And so there's like, I mean, sure. And like, so you have to just go along with these giant leaps in time. And then he's like, we got to do it. So she like spinal taps Morbius and he becomes, and well, he like basically dies, but then he's alive and is transformed into this vampire version of himself who's like bloodthirsty and out of control. And like he
turns into Marjorie Taylor Greene. So
he does turn into, we cannot say that name on this podcast. We cannot have the algorithm listening to that name and actually suggesting things to our listeners.
True.
But yes,
our apologies.
That swamp witch.
What we're trying to say is he
definitely
turns into an absolute monster.
Yeah, an absolute,
which is our opinion,
monster. Yeah, and our opinion, obviously. But yeah, so he's like an out of control vampire thing flying around doing things and stuff.
Well, he doesn't just fly around. There's a mercenary who's fucking around with Martine being like, herdy-dur. Why did he even show up? And he was just being a dickhead the whole time.
Yeah, I guess it's just to show the audience that like these people that he's killing are not innocent people.
No.
So we like don't feel bad for them. And then we sort of
he breaks out,
exonerate Morbius, and it just isn't even that big of a deal anyway.
No, so he breaks out of his little cell. He kills all these mercenaries, blah, blah, blah. Martine hits her head.
Yeah, she passes out and doesn't see anything. So that's very convenient for the story.
So everyone on the boat's dead now. It's basically a ghost ship, which, by the way, was a far superior movie. So the ghost ship comes to port. And the only interesting thing about that ship is that the same thing happens in the movie Nosferatu. Everyone is dead on the boat. They've all been drained of their blood. And the boat shows up, same as in Nosferatu. And the boat in this movie is named after the director of Nosferatu, the 1922 movie.
Oh, interesting. Cool homages.
And
doesn't save it. And so he is on the run basically, and he is just trying to get a hold of the thing that'll keep that monster at bay, which is a blue. It's he
Colgate.
Needs to feed off of. Yeah, he needs to feed on Colgate, which is synthetic blood that he has created. So he's got to get a whole storage of that because the clock is ticking until that monster overtakes him and he starts killing people. And he doesn't want to kill people. Okay, because he's a good guy.
He is. He's such a bad guy. He's so good. He's such a good guy.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot the funniest part of the movie.
What?
Oh, it was Jared Leto before like he actually gets the spinal tap. He's like talking to Adriana and he was like, they like kind of explore their attraction to each other. And he's like, yeah, girls are really into blah, 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 blah. I read it in Cosmo. And then he's like, does Cosmo even exist anymore?
John, I completely forgot that he said that. And you just made me remember it. And you're right. That was the funniest part. It is a real attempt at humor, John, by the way. It is a genuine, earnest attempt at humor. It does not pay off.
It does not.
I didn't laugh. John, I did not. I think that was the only time they tried to make. How many times did this movie reshot? Do we know?
Oh, I don't know.
Because there were reshoots.
Oh, fun. Great. That's a good use of money.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a common practice in Hollywood movies, like studio movies. I mean, so like whatever.
After what? The test audience is like, this is a piece of shit.
They're like, we got to save it.
They're
You're like, but that's weird. The meme said it's really, really good.
Okay.
Best movie ever.
Wait, where were we?
Yeah, so he's back on dry land, and he is just
He's back in the hospital.
Yeah.
He's upstairs in his lab in the hospital, and he's chomping on Colgate. He's got Colgate 3D White, and he's drinking it because, there's nothing better than having healthy teeth, and especially when you're a vampire.
Right, but there's two detectives on his tail who don't really like him to begin with.
Doesn't Matt Smith show up?
Yeah, Matt Smith shows up and he's just like, hey, what's going on? And then like Morbius is like, I'm sort of a half monster and stuff, and it might be like a vampire, but we're not going to say that word.
And then Matt Smith is like, well, let me have this. Give it to me. Yeah. And he was like, no, because you're going to turn into me, a monster. And he was like, I don't care. I'm tired of dying.
He's like, I kind of want that. So, and then like, he's like rejects. So Morbius is like, no, you're going to have to just die a miserable death. And so Matt Smith walks away, and then we kind of get
John.
Right. So they do refer to that as hobbling themselves, which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was really weird, especially when they're walking in the street.
Yeah, they're walking in the street, and then like Morbius does another failed attempt at humor where Morbius is like, he's like, yeah, well, if you do this, I'm going to hobble over in that direction.
Yeah, they call it hobbling. And I'm like,
okay, tone deaf. Interesting.
I'm like, honestly,
because these are not actors who are actually differently abled. These are,
yeah. Well, the thing is too, is like hobbling it doesn't necessarily like for me, I'm not like triggered by the word hobbling. It's an actual word, but at the same time, I'm like, you're not funny. You couldn't, it's like, it doesn't translate when you say it.
Right. It was like, oh, ha, 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 ha. And then, so we get a little look from Matt Smith, like, oh, it looks like he's up to something that probably isn't for good. It might be for evil.
That's when the cops show up.
Yeah, the cops show up because like somebody has drained all the blood out of a good person, and we think that it's Morbius, but guess what? Plot twist. It's Matt Smith, because Matt Smith secretly did the whole procedure, and he is like embracing the evilness of this gift of life.
Yep.
And he is going around. He is like picking up dudes at bars and draining them of their life force.
He's not by their necks either.
Yeah.
He is draining them of their life force, but it's on his knees.
Right,
so this is when the movie goes from PG-13 to X. Yeah.
Right.
Just
it turns into a gay porn of Matt Smith approaching a bunch of dudes and being like, hey, what party?
He says, hey, can I drain you of your life force? And they're like, yeah, that sounds hot.
Yeah, like, let's go into the bathroom and I'll drain you of your life force. And it's like, yeah.
I have a sheet at my house. There's a hole cut in it for anonymous dudes like you.
Right. Cool. But it is totally filmed and released on the internet.
It's on Twitter.
Yeah. He's like, do you want to be in Twitter porn?
You can't.
Anyway, sponsor us. Anybody out there? Disney, sponsor us. We are obviously a wholesome program for your children.
Listen, well, I don't give two shits about your kids, okay? This is not meant for your children.
And neither should you.
No, your kids are horrible. Make them fend for themselves.
Make them watch Morbius, and that's the only thing they can watch.
Yes. Stick them with Life of Drama.
Yeah, now that is torture.
No,
like Morbius on blast on a loop for like a year.
We have only been doing this for 30 minutes, John, and it feels like forever.
At the 30-minute mark in Morbius, that's exactly my thought. I was like, what?
I can barely remember. It's very hard to.
Yeah, it is. But you know what? Okay, so really what happens hereafter is Morbius versus his best friend, which was like, for me, it really didn't hold water.
No.
It was like, I was like, well, this is out of the blue and arbitrary, like, but I guess makes sense in superhero movies.
I liked
like,
Milo better.
Yeah. And like Milo's going around killing people and Morbius is just like, no, you must be stopped.
They fight each other a couple times, but I will say this. Can I say this? Whenever there are certain elements to me. None of this is redeeming this movie. Okay.
No.
But I will say there were elements when they're jumping and moving really quickly. I love the colors that happen. Specifically, the fight scenes look really cool. Like they could be very cool.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like utilizing Matrix bullet time.
It's actually Pokemon.
Like, oh, is it?
Yep.
No way.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
It's actually Pokemon. They're referencing Pokemon.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate?
Yes, when the colors...
You're like, no, Google it.
No, I can't elaborate. So you know how Morbius has the color purple following behind him, that trail of color?
Yes.
They use
it's like his thing.
It's the same as they use in like Pokemon. They have these trails of color for representing like speed and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
I actually looked up trivia for it.
Well, also, isn't that an overlap with studios? Because isn't the Pokemon, like the detective movie with Ryan Reynolds, a Sony Pictures event?
Okay, so let me say it. I shouldn't say they're...
So maybe they're using the same effects house or something.
Maybe. I shouldn't say they're referencing it because it's not a direct reference. What they're doing is they essentially were like, that's a cool element. We should incorporate it. It's an incorporated element based off of Pokemon.
Right. They give them their own individual look because isn't Milo, whenever he's doing the same flying situation,
he has a different color as well.
Yeah, and it's like signature.
Yeah,
and like so they're basically introducing this all throughout the climax of this movie, like their distinctive superhero-ness or supervillain-ness, and and then the movie just ends.
Honestly. John, that is kind of how it was.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, that's our time. But it was like, obviously
there's a battle for good and evil, even though both of them are evil.
Right,
one of them's just more
gets
evil.
Stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah,
and she ends up dying on a dance floor.
John, I said,
why was she on that dance floor on the rooftop? I was like, why is she looking like she's been at this club for days?
I said, what?
She is a scientist.
For real. What in the Rubik's Cube hell? You know that the Rubik's Cube was developed in Hungary?
Let's talk about that for 45 more minutes.
Yeah. No, so she's lying on a lit up Rubik's Cube. What a hard word to say.
A lit up Rubik's Cube. Rubik's.
No.
Cube.
Okay.
Oh, maybe it was the Rubik's Cube.
It was a Rubik's Cube. That actually really rolled off the tongue.
It did.
No, anyway, so what was her name? Why was she dying?
But we did it.
John, we did it.
And I just think that moment should not be glossed over. All right.
We did it, Toe.
And then, so she's dead on a dance floor, which is really jarring and arbitrary. Because I'm like, whoa, what are we doing?
There's a band called Blood on the Dance Floor. So same concept.
Yes, it's basically an homage to Blood on the Dance Floor.
That's what this movie was. It was just leading up to that point.
Right. She's full Karen O. Decapitated on the dance floor. So anyway, not decapitated, but yeah, so she basically infects herself with Morbius's blood because apparently she knows that that's going to work. But Morbius doesn't put that together in that moment, which is like, okay, evil. I'm like, okay, genius. Like he's like pretty dumb for being a genius who can figure things out.
Also, I'm sick of him looking like he's always in a 30 Seconds to Mars video.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I had that same thought. So whenever we first see Morbius in the very beginning shot in his lab, he is in like this fully tailored white scientist outfit. And I'm like, 30 Seconds to Mars.
I can't not see him in 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I always forget that he was in 30 Seconds to Mars. And I'm like, was that just a character for him?
John, I think life is a character for him. You know that he said he didn't do method acting for this movie. And the reason being is because his character is so much like him. Those were words out of his lips.
He's like, I just showed up to set and started mumbling.
But do you want to know what's even more annoying about that?
And by annoying, is there another word for that?
Absolutely. The most obnoxious thing you could be is
maybe a little pretentious, possibly.
Pretentious, obnoxious, all of these words, because he chose to not use his crutches. That's the only method thing he did. It would take him 40 minutes to go to the restroom, and the crew was pissed. So they would push him in a wheelchair because he refused to use his legs.
Well, isn't that method acting?
He says it's not.
Oh, and he's the authority.
He's the authority on
acting.
it.
Right, got it.
But also, this character's so much like him, you know?
Yeah, that is really obnoxious. As a crew, as like...
John, when I was reading that, I was like, I truly was like, I would have hated to work on this movie.
Yeah, I'm working out this like comedy show idea in my head, and we'll talk a little bit more of that, but it's like... It's about crew and like on major motion pictures, and it's like
don't you say it right.
That would
John,
be,
don't you say it on here. Don't you say it on here.
I'm not gonna say it on here.
You fucking keep that shit under wraps. You can tell me about it later. Do not say it on here.
Okay, cool. I'll maybe leave that out. I don't care.
Yeah, but actually, you probably should though, for real, because you don't have to tell me nothing.
Okay,
you don't got to tell it right here because that is a strong idea. Bleep it out.
Okay, I'll bleep it out. Anyway, so something happened off camera just now, and you guys can't know about it. And so anyway, Jared Leto is terrible.
We're getting back to that.
But I don't want to totally trash Jared Leto. Like, it's just my opinion, and I don't even know this person.
It's my opinion as well, but John, you don't have to know him. You don't have to know somebody to know that they are I don't even like. It's fine. Sure. Just based purely off of the way he speaks and his interviews, he's not the same as us.
Yeah,
he's not the same as most.
What's his backstory?
Inbreeding, probably.
What's his pedigree? I'm like, is there crystal meth in there? Is there? What's going on here?
John. It's not crystal meth.
Do you think he grew up wealthy and rich? Do you get those vibes?
I actually have no clue where he came from.
Yeah, is he a California native?
I don't know where he came from. John, for all I know, this dude came from a lab.
Yeah, they just like Hollywood grew him, and this is what we got.
Yeah. Oh, we forgot to tell you guys. Matt Smith dies at the end of this.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So Morbius kills him.
There's a huge fight because Matt Smith kills, what's her name? Regina. What's her name?
Regina George.
Matt Smith killed Regina George, and Morbius
because he needed to. He's trying to make fetch happen.
He actually
and Regina George was like, "Please stop trying to make fetch happen. So please stop." And then he's like, "You're dead now."
Yep. So but the way is, and you guys are all wondering how he did it. So remember when Katie Heron pushed Regina George in front of the bus, sort of allegedly.
Yes, exactly.
Well, it was actually Matt Smith. He was super fast. Oh, yeah. He was so fast. And because he's a vampire.
I mean, it kind of just like whooshes across the frame and you just assume that it's a bus, but it's Matt Smith pushing a bus.
Yep. It was like in like the first or second episode of The Boys when that chick explodes in the street because of the fast runner. Same concept.
Same thing.
So then Morbius kills Matt Smith, and that is the end of Morbius.
That's the end of Morbius. And then we get 2 mid-credit
John, I know
scenes.
I was like, first, I only remember one of them, and that was the one with Michael Keaton.
Oh, right. Yeah, they're like building up Batman or something. No. He's like another villain.
He was actually in one of the Spider-Man movies. He played the name escapes me, but he was a major character. He was a villain.
Right. And so he's like sort of
back.
he's in the Morbius world, and then we also expose that Spider-Man's gonna be a thing, and that they're gonna, and then they like tease up they're like gonna create this whole like team of like other evil things.
Yes, because
and stuff.
Morbius is recruiting him. He is like, I'm listening. Remember at the end, the very end, when he goes, I'm listening.
Yeah, and I was just like, okay.
I'm like, all right, Grandma, get out of here.
Can I turn off the TV now, please?
Grandma Lito.
Jeez. Grandma Lito.
I'm not, dude. Okay, we've just spent 40 minutes doing the absolute worst job we could at synopsizing this movie. By the way, if you guys got through that, spoiler alert. We forgot to say up top.
Okay, cool.
Who cares?
I mean, this movie was already spoiled.
This movie wasn't good.
But yeah, so shall we get into the critics? Because this is fun. This is fun.
I feel like before we get into
fun.
I am actually having fun. It's been a long time since I've had so much. There's a lot of disdain.
Yeah, I mean, the movie just isn't good. But guess who else decided that this movie wasn't good? It was
everyone.
Rotten Tomatoes. So, which is basically everyone. Yeah, so it got a 15% on the tomatometer, which is the critics' consensus.
Yeah.
That's our lowest yet, I think.
Honestly, that's a really low.
That's really, really low.
That's really
the
low.
Audience score was 71%. And I'm like, how audience?
John, can I ask you, do we have like emails? Can we get an email address to Sony and be like, can you check out the tomato meter?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have. Okay, so this is actually a Columbia, which is Sony.
I did
obviously.
see it's like it was Columbia, but like Sony Pictures.
Yeah, like I have taken a general with Columbia, somebody at Columbia, and I could just email her and be like, "Hey, I'm just circling back and touching base. Hope you're well, and really enjoyed our general 6 months ago, and had a great conversation. And I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that I watched Morbius." And I haven't
been writing this down. Give me a second. Okay, I have my.
I'm dictating.
Okay, I have my pen and paper.
Apologies, guys. I'm just in the middle of dictating an email to Travis.
Okay, so I'm writing this down.
Are you caught up?
Yes, I'm caught up. Let's keep going. Cool.
So I just wanted to let you know that I watched Morbius.
Yeah. ...
Ellipsis.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's get technical.
Yes, ellipsis.
For clarity.
I'm not even going to put the 3 dots. I'm just going to write ellipsis.
Yeah,
that sounds
I was concerned
better.
that you were just going to spell out ...
No,
and I just
I'm actually going to. I'm going to spell out
ellipsis,
but I am going to put the breaks in there.
Okay, cool, perfect. And this is going well. And so I just wanted to.
Should I include this is going well?
Yes,
okay.
And this is going well. I just noticed at the beginning of Morbius that there is a very clear sort of before the titles where it basically implicates Sony and Columbia Pictures.
Yes, okay.
As the person who has produced and distributed this movie.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Perfect. I have it all written down.
Cool. I wish you well. ?
Can't wait to see you again. Maybe.
Can't wait to see you again as soon as this is all behind us.
Yeah, and then make sure you sign off with, I hope this email found you well.
Hope this finds you well.
Hope it found you well, because we didn't preface that
with like the emoji, like the eek smile emoji,
I do like that.
Which is like neither a frown or it's very ambiguous. I hate getting that, by the way.
Hope this found you well.
Are they happy or mad at me?
No, you know what? It's actually going to be the hands getting a manicure emoji. So that's better.
Yeah. Hope this finds you well.
XO.
Yeah,
John.
Your former acquaintance.
Your former flame, John.
Yeah. I hope we can repair our relationship.
Hope we can move past this. Amen.
Yes. Hope all is well.
Yeah. So basically, amen.
That would be the email. So anyway, so Rotten Tomatoes, thank you so much, Travis, for taking that
You're
down.
so welcome,
and
John. I always, anything for you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I will write your emails and I will take your pictures.
Thank you so much. So yeah, we'll get that out to her right away. And so this got a 15% tomatometer, and the critics' consensus is cursed with uninspired effects, rote performances, and a borderline nonsensical story. This dreary mess is a vain attempt to make Morbius happen.
To make Morbius happen. I like how they used vain attempt, as in like
it's in vain.
Oh, they did it in vain, but also I kind of feel like in veins.
It's a pun.
They're good. That was a good one.
Shade.
Also, they really did not like this movie. What's another one? Can we hear another one?
Okay, so the audience, which rated the 71%.
They were all high. They were paid.
They're like, cool.
They were absolutely paid.
Yeah, so it says Morbius isn't telling the most original story, but cool visuals and fast action keep things entertaining. Blech. And if we just want to scroll on down this Rotten Tomatoes page to the critics' reviews, like the more specific
that is the
ones.
one I want to hear.
Okay. This one is the top critic is who did this is from Kermode and Mayo's film review. He's a top critic. And it's Mark Kermode says, somehow, Jared Leto is not even the best Jared in Morbius, period. Oh, I just, enough with the origin stories we did not ask for. End of review.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then, and so a BBC.com critic.
Oh, BBC came for him too.
Yeah. They were like, James Luxford says, a case of parentheses of the filmmakers had a character, but didn't quite know what to do with it. I think it's quite a messy plot that doesn't always make that much sense. A bit different with the horror theme, but nothing special. And yeah. And then Nick's from the Daily Beast, Nick Shager says, not the epic disaster we expected. It is, however, generic as all hell.
Okay, so since we have extra time now, if we were to write this review, what would we be saying?
Okay, you go first, and I'll you dictate. I will type this out right now.
Where are we writing from? You have to tell. Where are we writing from? Mean Girls Interrupted.
llc.com.co.uk /activate.
Okay, so that's where we're writing from.
Yes.
If this movie became sentient, it would kill itself.
Yes.
Trigger warning.
Self-harm.
The end.
The end.
No, okay, that's not actually my review.
Maybe this movie was actually sentient, and maybe this is all the movie killing itself.
Okay, that's actually not.
Because it seems to really not want to thrive.
No, okay, so I have a better review for this. This is okay. So, dictate this. Delete everything I just
did it.
Thank you for deleting that. Okay, don't hit post yet. Okay, so Jared Leto's performance as Morbius was so much like Jared Leto that it leaves you wanting to leave the theater.
Yes.
Also, this movie, have you ever smelled a cat turd? No, that's just me asking you. Have you ever smelled a cat turd?
Oh, yes, I have up close. And it's not the best experience in the world.
No, write that down.
But okay, cool.
And that's it. That's the review.
I did it. We did it.
I don't know.
Together.
I don't know if we did anything.
Cool. But here's going to be my own individual review of this. Okay. My official review. And you can quote me on this.
Okay. I'm actually going to write it down.
Can you please quote me on this?
Because your review is going to be better than mine.
Okay. Cool. I mean, yours was really, really good.
It could have been way better. Trust me.
Okay, so let's try this one. Maybe it'll be both of ours.
Sure.
We're just spitballing here.
Yeah,
okay, so
spitballing, yes.
Morbius. So Sony Pictures Morbius is a Marvel movie and made in association with Marvel.
Yeah.
And
Columbia.
they successfully completed a movie without having to rely on their insurance. And so
yes.
I think that that is something to be said of a movie. It is something to be said of a movie.
I'm writing that down. It's just something to be said. I'm writing that down. It's perfect.
And the best words to describe Morbius is something that describes Morbius in a very accurate way. And
yes,
that is the best part of this movie, is that you can say something about it. Is that good?
John, that was honestly I'm just
trying to be diplomatic.
That review is getting, I'm not. This movie is not good. My review out of 10 caves full of bat shit, it's just bat shit.
Yes, it is guano.
I'm not going to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10. It is not good.
Yeah, it is.
There's no scale here.
Probably. I mean, if seriously, in all seriousness, I would give it a 1 because Matt Smith is in it.
No. We have to give it a 2 for the high pony.
He dances several times in this movie. Did you catch that?
Doesn't he get shirtless once?
Yeah, he does. And I'm like, okay, you are a naked mole rat, which is cool. Good choice.
John,
fine.
His bone structure's insane. His profile is nuts. And he's kind of hot as Damon in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm fully into it because he is the hot D in Hot D.
Honestly, and I didn't think so in the beginning. The more I watch it, I'm like, who?
I'm like, I get Rhaenyra's
she's
attraction.
Obsessed with her uncle. Yeah, same girl.
Yeah, but I'm also getting Gunkel vibes. I feel like that's going to be a thing.
No, I don't think so because no. He definitely is in love with Rhaenyra.
No, right, but okay.
Oh, but
is he in love with Rhaenyra or is he in love with power? Because
I think he's in love with power, but I also think he doesn't just love Rhaenyra.
He feels robbed of the throne. But also here, stay with me.
Sure.
So if you think back of all of the sexual encounters that we've had with him in Hot D, he's unable to perform every single time with those women.
John, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. And also
maybe he's going to get with his nephew cousin.
Did you watch the latest episode?
Oh yeah. That was a good episode.
So he catches up with like, surprise, he has a wife in the Vale.
Who he kills.
She says they haven't consummated their marriage yet.
No.
Yeah, we're talking Gunkel D.
John, I think you might be right.
I think I am right.
Everyone, this is now a podcast about House of the Dragon.
We suddenly rebranded.
We're no longer doing movies. We're doing House of the Dragon.
Mean Girls of Westeros.
Yeah. Wait just a minute.
Spin-off series.
Honestly, we're okay. Everyone,
we have too much to do in October because in October, you guys, after you listen to this call to action of like, comment, follow, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
Tomatoes,
tell your friends.
Potatoes.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Leave a comment. Leave an email, which is meangirlsinterrupted@gmail.com. All one word. And just let us know what movie you want to watch, especially before October.
We need to know.
October is double feature horror month. We are bringing you 2 episodes every week of horror movies, spooky films, creepy stuff. We are going to kick it off with Hocus Pocus 2, and we are going to gay that up.
Yes, we're going to kick it off with Hocus Pocus 2, and then you guys, we are absolutely going to give you the new Hellraiser that is happening.
Oh, Jamie Clayton is, I don't even need to watch that movie to know that she is iconic. She is going to obliterate all of the Cenobites that have come before her.
In 10 different installments. There are 10 different Hellraisers, John.
Yeah. So Jamie, I know.
It's actually insane.
I watched a whole thing about it.
It's actually insane.
On YouTube.
Did you watch the guy rank the Cenobites?
No.
Okay, so I watched one.
But there's so much Hellraiser the stuff online.
John, I'm about to go rewatch these because one of these looks like Camp perfection.
Which one are you talking about?
There's a guy who was a DJ once who turns into a Cenobite and he throws discs at people.
Yes. Okay.
And there's a
cool.
guy with a camera in his head, and he uses the camera's zoom feature to punch holes in people's faces.
Now that's cool.
I can't
and also
wait.
A media statement.
Oopsie, I forgot to silence my phone.
But yeah, so I would give Morbius a 1 because of a high pony feature.
The High Pony and Matt Smith, they equal 1 star out of 10.
Yeah.
I would, so for real, like this is 10 caves full of bad shit. I'm not giving it a 10. I'm just giving it 10 caves full of bad shit.
Yeah, which equals like 0.
This movie. Sony.
Yeah.
Girl. Those memes, you need to become more self-aware. They were not.
And don't be surprised if they shove more Morbius and Venoms in like a whole like Avengers version of it, like with teamed up Morbius and Venom and stuff.
No, it's just like that person
coming
said.
to a theater near you against your will.
John, it's just like the critic said, an origin story nobody asked for. We don't want this.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
And they're just trying to make it. They're just trying to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm not.
But
They all just played Forrest Gump in this movie.
Yeah, it's true. But hey,
Hi,
Travis.
John.
We've reached the end of the podcast. And thank you all so much for listening to us.
And if you stopped, we get it. You're not hearing this.
It's fine. You know what? It's Morbius. Tune in next week. Is it a Hocus Pocus 2 next week?
Honestly, I don't even know what the date is today. We're not going to say it.
Yeah.
We won't say it though.
Yeah, it might be something else as a placeholder until October.
Oh, sorry. We did say we were going to do Blonde, everyone. It's not out. Our apologies.
So next week is actually Blonde. And then the week after that is, mark your calendars.
Horror movie.
A horror movie. October extravaganza.
Yep. Spooky Dookie Halloween.
Yeah, Spooky Dookie Baba Dookie.
Also, if you were moaning Myrtle, can I just ask, would you be spying on people's buttholes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was just thinking about ghosts and stuff.
Okay, cool. And at that, we're going to see you at the movies. You have to say it.
Roll the credits, friend. That's all I have.
Bye.